Hey guys, welcome back to AlltheMods 10. We are on episode 13, I believe it is, and between episodes I have fulfilled the request to build a guide to build my controller. And it is now live, it has a few views. I am constantly answering questions in the comments, so if you want to build one of these bad boys, I've made a quite descriptive video about the process that goes into making one of these. And I plan to get right into Industrial Foregoing this episode to craft myself an ore laser base, a few laser drills, and then fully automate ancient debris, AlltheModium, Vibranium, and unobtainium. Now, I did mention in the previous episode that I would tuck into getting the mixed alloys for these guys, and I feel like that is a little bit too tall of an order at the moment because I would require automated resources to then use those resources automatically. So the entire story of Industrial Foregoing begins with the production of latex and plastic. And latex is produced by putting any type of log in front of the fluid extractors, for which I'm setting up the recipes right now. Except mangrove and acacia seem like they're the best bets to produce the most amount of latex possible. So I think requesting 10 of these seems like a reasonable start. So of course, just as any other automation setup I'm going to be making today, or ever for that matter, I put down one of these cables, and these face away from you when you put them down, so you got to be careful about that. But I should be able to put 5 of these down here, and then the other 5 down like so. And as I'm doing this, I'm already thinking about whether I should subnet these or should I not, because obviously I can't put all of these in the same subnet. That's 5 connections. I'd run into the same issues as the hostile neural network setup over there. But I could make it such that their outputs pipe into a different subnet that then pipes into the storage, kind of like my crafting cassette in the distance there. I'm gonna go with the simpler option and just use channels directly. Now these bad boys are gonna need importers because they output a fluid, and to store this fluid, which is latex, I think I'm gonna grab a fluid drawer and put it right here with the storage bus. Okay, and now that all of that's done, I'm gonna go ahead and partition this drive to be a drive for latex and latex alone. I have already gone ahead and linked and locked the fluid drawer, so that's okay. I'm doing this because if I partition this drive to only be filtered to latex, it can only pull in and put out latex in bidirectional mode. So this fluid drawer will never accept anything other than latex and will never put out anything other than latex, unlike the sink in my blob over there, which constantly ate all of my lava every time I put it back into the system. And so, to automatically place the logs in front of these faces, I'm going to use something called the active formation planes. But to place them, since they place onto a face, I'm going to put down mangrove first. And I'm going with mangrove instead of acacia because, well, it's my base, and I think the red color will pop really well against the black. Now, I don't know if, yeah, right here, you can see that the fluid extractors are already working and slowly extracting latex. And that brings me to my next point. These machines will work without power. They just work faster with power. And now if I take, oh, nice. If I take the formation planes and put them in the back here, they should place against the face. And the non-active variety of these formation planes require a subnet to operate. So these guys will take blocks out of your storage and then place them in front, whereas the regular formation planes from AE2 instead of extended AE would require them to be on a subnet, and that's when they would function. So they're just slightly different, and what I'm looking for is right here. I can't do this because, of course, too many channels. I'd have to use dense cables, like so. And I gotta replace that one too. And with that, I do believe that is everything I need to set the system up. So if I just put one of these down and one of those and turn that into a P2P, I can right-click this because that's a fresh connection I stole earlier. I should be able to then grab a memory card and then grab another P2P connection for myself. Boop! And the system's active. Now, hypothetically, this functional drawer should be getting some latex in it. I hope. Priority, let's just set this to really high. How about now? all the latex is being emptied out rather rapidly. Fluid drawer or fluid drawer? Nothing. Oh, it's going into the sink. Hold on, I gotta partition that sink. I never did take it off or remove it, so that's on me. Just gotta go here and say, hey, this one is only water. There we go. And now, hopefully, that drawer should fill up with latex. I figured it out. I was being a little dumb. I had locked the drawer, and of course, if there's nothing in the drawer, then, well, you know, nothing can go into an empty drawer, just like these are empty. And yeah, I just unlocked it, latex flood in instantly, and then I locked it again. Now for these formation planes, I'm gonna drag mangrove into these bad boys and then give these guys crafting cards because I have already set up a recipe for mangrove using the nature essence. And each one of these takes a single crafting upgrade, so when this guy needs a mangrove log and there's none in the system, and it has the ability to place a mangrove log in front of it, for example, let's say something happens to the mangrove log, it should eventually realize it, request a craft for a mangrove log, and then place it. Exactly like so. And since I can speed these up by putting down some power, I'm just going to go ahead and slap ultimate cables on top of these and give them juice. And so over time, they will try to break this block. Once it reaches a max breaking, cracking stage, it'll become a block of stripped mangrove. And once they break the stripped mangrove, the formation plane will go ahead and place a new mangrove log just like this guy. Now with power, these guys only fill up to about 40 or 30 progress and take about 2 seconds. But if I am to disconnect this power, like so, suddenly, and then wait for the power to run out, you can see that it takes about 5 seconds. And the progress bar goes all the way up to 100 and then starts counting down. So it's just easier to put the power cables down and have that extra little bit of power. Now all of this liquid latex turns into plastic or dry rubber in a latex processing unit, which is fairly easy to craft. So I can just request everything here, put the furnace there, put the machine frame right there, and put down the latex processing unit. Now this guy takes power and water and liquid latex and puts out dry rubber, which you can then smelt and turn into plastic. Now on second thought, I think above the drawer is a better place for it. Now these machines are kind of pretty cool because you can configure inputs and outputs directly like so. And so if I tell this machine that, hey, you can pull latex from below, it automatically pulls latex from this tank and fills itself up. And if I put an interface down over here, connected to the cable, I can just do one of these, put that here, and then I can request water right here. And even better, I believe compatible upgrades over here is an induction card, so I can even supply power for this guy through the ME system. So if I now just tell that on the right side you can pull water in, the ME system will slowly send this water. And with an induction card, I should now be able to shift right click this in. And it's already going. And that's our first dry rubber. And what I want to do next is put a furnace directly on top here and then have a drawer up here. And if this drawer is connected to that controller in the distance there, then I don't think I need a storage bus right here. Because, well, it should receive all of its stuff through the network, right? And it just did. So, well, that's one channel saved. And I'm not worried about the channels because I want to double this up and put it right here. Bam, big reveal right here. It's already done. And that just got replaced. The system works perfectly. Now, to put a furnace on top, I think I'm just going to go with any of the iron furnaces. That's a strange thing to say out loud, but it is what it is. And I'll put a drawer up there. And, you know, I've got this iron furnace, and then from my quests, I've got a upgrade. Do I have other upgrades? Can I? That's a silver to stone, iron to gold. Okay. If I just plonk this here and put that there, I should now be able to right-click it with a factory upgrade. And this can now do multiple, but more importantly, it uses power instead, and it's being powered by the mechanism cable in the back. And now I should be able to tell this guy to send up top. And of course it doesn't, because here I need to say input from the bottom, and I need to say output from the top, or output to the top rather. And just like that, we have plastic automated. Now I should just go ahead and link and lock this drawer, like so. And now we have plastic in the system. And now the first thing I would like to make with all of this newfangled plastic is one of these dissolution chambers. I can auto-craft everything else, but I do not have a diamond gear at hand, but I do now. So that goes there, and I should now be able to request the rest. And the dissolution chamber goes right there to finish off this entire block. Now the dissolution chamber is the machine that does it all. First of all, it needs power, which I can just tap out the back like so. Hopefully I can reach. Which I have now provided in the back, and the rest is a fluid input and a bunch of outputs around it. In fact, if I just right click this, the average crafting recipe looks kind of like this. It takes a fluid, and then items go around it. It takes a certain amount of power, and it produces the output. And so if I just grab an extended pattern provider, like so, and slap it onto this face right here, I can now send whatever pattern I wish into the dissolution chamber, and once it's done, I would like the output, the fluid output, the regular output, to be pushed into the left, and the fluid output, if there is any, to also be pushed into the left. And that about covers it, because now I can go into my patterns here and look for the dissolution chamber, and I have 36 available spots to put and automate machines through here. And just to continue on, I'm gonna put a storage downgrade right here. Oh, it already has more than a stack, so I'm gonna pull all of this out and then put a storage downgrade in here, just so I can slowly build up a backlog of latex, because nothing else can move on until all of these machines fill up. And I've also just realized that by sheer dumb luck, I have stumbled upon a 32 channel system that perfectly fits into a block again. Kind of like this right here, except that is 15 channels, because there's 5 formation planes in the back, and it's 5 tall. So 15, 30, and 1 and 2. How strange is that? This is like one of those oddly satisfying moments where the things fit perfectly into other things. Yeah. And instead of doing anything, I've just gone ahead and disabled this guy just so I can move on with my life instead of waiting for so long. So the first pattern I would like to make would be for the next machine frame. And that would be the simple machine frame, whose pattern looks like this: 2 plastic plus a pity machine frame plus nether bricks, gold gears, and latex. Now, I do not have a recipe for gold gears, so I'm going to have to encode that in right now. And it seems that the gold gears have no recipe. The nether bricks are just simple, you can smelt up netherrack. Now I'll have to look into why that is not have a recipe. Are there other gold gears I can use? And sure enough, it is tagged with any gold gears. And so if I just do this, I should be able to use any recipe, just not the one that this guy happened to use. So I'm going to have to re-encode this recipe and say enable substitutions or something along those lines. And I can just find out if that pattern works because I've now put it in. And if I request a simple machine frame and say next, it says it's missing the gold gear. Right, so that did not work at all. I will have to manually pick this out and swap the gold gear for the other gold gear. That's no problem at all. I can just request a gold gear, like so. Should be done instantly. Click that in there, re-encode this recipe, and it should work now. So, simple. And I keep doing that on accident. We go next, and it can now craft one of these. And we look up here. Now this is slow to begin with, but there are upgrades and add-ons that you can put in. And those two are crafted in the dissolution chamber. Right, so if I just search for add-ons, the add-ons I'm currently interested in are the speed tier ones, which are crafted up with gold gears and glass panes, redstone and sugar. Sugar I do not have a crafting recipe for. And I have sugarcane, which I can get from nature essence in bulk, so that is no problem at all. And the next tier would be speed tier 2s, and those require diamond gears or a tier 1. Now, I would not like to make recipes where they require the previous recipe, so the first recipe is a telescopic one. I would rather go with the one that is the non-telescopic recipe. But of course, this diamond gear is a regular old diamond gear with no recipes. So I'm going to have to, once again, find myself a diamond gear that I can craft. Do one of these, encode this recipe, then put this back in, and then request a diamond gear, and so on and so forth. So now with the diamond gear in my hand, I can just click that there, and then middle click this number to change it to 2, re-encode this recipe, and this recipe should work too. And hypothetically, I should now be able to request an add-on, speed tier 2, say next, and the machine should just work away. And it does. And of course, the first thing I would like to put the speed add-on in is put it in here so that everything else I craft up later on is faster. Now, are the add-ons tier 3 something I can make right now? Those require netherite gears and pink slime. So that is a no. And these need ether gas and echo shards, so also no. Alright, that's no problem at all. I can just move on and do the other patterns, and I'll be right back. And so I've just gone ahead and crafted these up, and I've also just noticed that these guys, the tier 1 add-ons, have no use other than making the tier 2s. So I'm just going to recycle this pattern back into my terminal, and now I should be able to request all of these on demand as long as I have latex available. Now, all of this progress was in an effort to get the laser drill, which I can now make, and the ore laser base, which requires an advanced machine frame. Now, the advanced machine frame requires something called pink slime, and that comes from a mob slaughter factory, which I can just make right now. And with this machine in hand, if you place it down, this guy consumes some power, kills off a bunch of mobs, and puts out liquid meat on one side and pink slime on the other. So, I would like to set up a tiny 5x5 farm, and rather serendipitously, this is a perfect 5x5 space for me to put mob farm in. So for this little setup, I'm gonna put a drawer on either side, like so, and grab this guy, put her down like that. Now I can say the pink slime goes off to the right, and the liquid meat goes off to the left. And if I put white upgrades in both drawers and put in a range upgrade over here, it should be easily covering this 5x5 space. And this little bit of interior design has me looking into a mod called Redstone Pen because I would like to be able to turn all of these lights on and off. So let's go off on a little bit of tangent and explore what this mod has to offer. So apparently it starts off with, I guess, the quill. I don't know. I'm just making this up as I go along. A redstone pen. It's got 72 redstone in it. So does that mean if I do this? No. If I do this? Okay, that checks out. Because now I can just put more and more redstone in here. Okay, that's no problem. So if I write... Okay, so can I also write on a wall? Okay, that checks out. And if I just left click, I can get rid of one at a time. Okay, I'm picking up what this is putting down, literally. Oh, and of course, I can just hover over it and press Ctrl and Shift to look at what this does. And apparently, if you have redstone in your inventory, the quill will put it down and left clicking will pick it up. I can't, yeah, okay. So it's the same thing, but slightly different. That all makes sense. And it's also got a few different relays that allow you to make different circuits. But what I am actually sort of intrigued by is one of these. And of course it ate my quill, which I now want back. Please and thank you. What is this guy? The redstone control logic circuit. Run stop. Okay, that is some JavaScript that I was messing with earlier. What is all this? Is this some sort of... Oh, you can actually write code in here. Oh, there's entire instructions. Wow, okay. And it's a full logic controller. I'm gonna do some reading and I'll be right back. Okay, so this seems rather interesting. This is essentially like a PLC, and if I press Control Shift here, it says that right here. And that is a programmable logic controller. So, oh, that was instant break. I think this is going to be really cool to use for something like my big reactor if and when I do make it from Mechanism. But for now, I think the functionality I need can just be fulfilled by using this quill and the redstone in my inventory. So I'll just put it behind these lights that I'm accidentally breaking. And I'll be right back. Now the solution I've come up with in rather case-off fashion happens to involve P2P tunnels, and in this case redstone P2P tunnels. They're connected directly behind here. In fact, I've missed a block here so you can just see exactly what's happening. I have a P2P tunnel here that is then applying strong power to that light, and then there's redstone cables behind it that drag it all the way across, and a repeater half in between to input the power again. So you can see the delay right about there, and the repeaters behind that block. And when I turn the lights on, no mobs will spawn. When I turn the lights off, mobs will spawn. And now I've put down a layer of tinted glass right here, and hypothetically this box is entirely spawn proof, except I feel like a little bit of light might be going through these facades. That is not exactly a problem though. And what goes in the middle of this farm would be something called cursed earth. No, okay, yeah, cursed GM chicken feed is what I need to make. I should have almost everything here except for XP buckets. And the easiest way to make XP buckets is to make an XP drain singularity tank. It's a fairly cheap craft, but if you stand in front of it or over top of it with some XP on your person, all of mine is currently stored in here because I'm a clumsy person and I die frequently. So if I just retrieve a few levels here, let's just say 40 of them, I should just be able to stand on top of it and it'll drain the XP out of me. It makes a cool noise too. Hell yeah. And you can see the top, the number of buckets stored goes up. And I should now be able to pull out 4 buckets. That's all I need. So cursed chicken feed, here we go. Now I just need to find chicken to feed with this chicken feed. And having RTP'd into a village, I can just give it to this guy. Whoops. So now before I put down this rotten egg, I would like to mention the fact that if I click show working area, this operates a block directly in front of it and in a 3 tall area. And the add-on tiers for Industrial Foregoing, as the number goes up, for example this +2 would turn this 1 into a 5x5. So it adds 2 in the radius in every direction. Putting one of these in, this now perfectly encapsulates this entire room. And I can turn the lights on and turn off the working area. Of course this one would need power, so I'm just going to put a gate underneath it from below ground because I don't want to mess with these lights. And I think I should be ready to just put down this rotten egg in the middle block right here. Now, of course, it was not called cursed earth. That was from a different mod, sorry. And this stuff spawns a whole lot of mobs really, really quickly and really, really fast. I think quickly and fast mean the same thing. So if I turn this off, hypothetically, ooh, is my pylon messing with this? I feel like it is. That is unfortunate. I'm going to turn my pylon off real quick. No, wait a minute. I thought I saw something. Oh yeah, slime just spawned in here. Cool. Anyways, you saw pink slime just got made. Man, I don't want to turn my pylon off. Okay, I'll do it anyways. Let's turn this off. Let's see. Because in theory, this should be really, really fast. Oh wow, that actually jump scared me. The skin on the back of my head is crawling. And this is also why I didn't want to turn the pylon off. Very cool. And yeah, it does seem like there's a little bit of light leaking through this corner right here. And because this light is just exactly right here, it's giving it a light value of 14. And so only things in the back corner here can spawn in. And that's rather unfortunate. So I'm going to have to do something about my P2P solution here. And I'll probably just move it to the top, I guess. And now that I've taken off those P2P tunnels, there's a whole boatload of mobs spawning in right here. And they're all really loud. So I'm going to create a new anchor. Anchor right here. Say a radius of 32. Seems like it's a little too big, so I would like to edit this anchor and create the radius to be 16 blocks. Click accept, and I can just muffle everything. In fact, I want to muffle most specifically ambient sounds, so skeleton ambient can be turned off, witch ambient can, and so on and so forth. And I'll just set this up. And already I have spotted a major problem here. And that's the fact that the spiders, by default, like to climb upwards on a wall they come in contact with. And that seems to be the case right here. So I think I'm just going to cut this farm off right here at the top, at the level of this kiwi. And then I can just put the lighting solution up top here. I was overcomplicating this all along. It does not need to be this tall at all. So if I just break this, let some light in. Actually, I'll turn on the lights first. That seems like a sound idea. And while resetting these up, I've just remembered that instead of using a flux acceptor, I can just use one of the extra generators that I have to individually power up this P2P. Okay, I think all of this works now. If I turn off, a bunch of mobs start to spawn, and since the liquid meat is full up, it still does its job. I think it just voids all of the excess. I believe so, or at least I hope so, because if this stops working, yeah, it seems to be doing just fine. So I can just leave this running. It'll just build up pink slime over time. What I now need to do is grab out my tools, configuration and linking, lock both of these, add both of these to the network. Perfect. Now I have liquid meat as well as pink slime available in the network at all times. And of course, if you have any cool or silly ideas with what to do with that little room above the roof type dealio, maybe I make a little Harry Potter thing. Actually, maybe this can be my little bedroom right above the mob farm. I don't know. Drop your ideas in the comments. I want to see what you guys can come up with. However, the existence of this pink slime now means that I get to make all the cool things with that dissolution chamber, which includes this advanced machine frame. So it's now time to go back in here, go here, and code this recipe in. Now, I don't know if I have netherite scrap, but I guess we'll find out real soon once I do that and request another machine frame. Like so. I guess I do. And clicking over here. Perfect. And now this machine frame lets me jump into all the automation that I promised, starting with building the ore laser base, like so. And then building, I'm probably going to set up a recipe for these bad boys and request a ton of these, and I'll explain why in soon. Alright, unfortunate little interruption here to regularly scheduled programming. I've spent the better part of yesterday doing nothing but yesterday and today, doing nothing but answering questions about the Big ME controller video that I published. And that video blew up a lot more than I expected to. It's currently at around 20,000 odd views, and you know, I expected a couple hundred. There's boatloads of you all who have questions, and gained a few hundred subscribers since then, so hello everybody. How's it going? This entire system has been running in that time, and I have taken away the downgrade on this drawer and put an upgrade on the latex storage. Did I need an upgrade? I don't think so. I also made myself a little maintenance hatch that goes back here because I ended up doubling up the system. There's now 40 fluid extractors running constantly. The ones in the back don't have upgrades, but I even put upgrades in all of the ones in the front. And I actually doubled up my latex production simply because if I use a lot of plastic at any given time and my production from latex is too slow, there is nothing other than increasing production that can solve that problem. I shouldn't limit the output of the system when what I should truly do is increase the input. So that's exactly what I've done here. Now, the current bottleneck happens to be how many of these I have, how many dissolution chambers I have running actively, and given the fact that I have 2 extra channels on the system in the back, I might just put down a couple more and use 2 more pattern providers with shared recipes just to spread the load out just a tiny bit. And you might be wondering what that system's crafting up at the moment, and if the numbers in my hotbar are any indication, then you guys might recognize that I'm crafting a whole boatload of laser drills for the ore laser base setups. And that is because there is a really cool way to maximize the output from one of these bad boys. When you normally place these down, you would see people do that like this, and they're like, oh yeah, 4 is enough. And yes, 4 is enough, because you can always upgrade these and they run just fine. But if you toggle show working area, you'll notice that these work in a 3x3 that starts at their face and extends all the way here. That means that if I put down one here, assuming it's in the right direction, which it seems to be, and one here, they should all bind to the same target. And if I enable all of these working areas, you can see that that one is inside all of them. And so, to make full use of this ore laser base right here, you would put down 3 of these in each direction, and then expand those 3 into a 3x3 so that they make a big plus shape. So you would go here, place these 3, place these 3, and then since that corner is already occupied, you'd place 2 here, and then just repeat this pattern all the way around until you have completely filled in this cube. Now, all of these should be bound to the same location, and that is where the drill is at, and once you power this on, all of these will put in the work to make this bar go up. And of course, all of these machines take upgrades, and with a advanced wireless block charger, which is a fairly simple craft to do, you can just simply power all of these machines at once. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this down here, and then slap a power node underneath it at some point. Like so. I just dug out underneath and just gotta fly out and back around. I'm not gonna put down the ore laser base just yet because, well, it'll start mining up overworld ores, and I don't want that. But this should now, if I say highlight area, cover everything from edge to edge, and I have to build this up 3 blocks. And now that this big behemoth of a build is complete, I should be able to place down this guy, and you can see that without any upgrades at all, this is already mining stuff up. Now, I don't want any overworld ores at the moment. In fact, most of the overworld ores I already have thanks to the digital miner in the mining dimension. What I really want to use this for is to get ancient debris from the nether, which I can get at a Y height of 1 with a brown laser lens. And of course, just as all industrial machines can, this guy can push to a certain side, so I can say output to the top, and I plan on using a dimensional chest somewhere over there, or maybe in a new slot in this automation system to pull it in and smelt it automatically. I've just tested and found out that these guys take all processing, efficiency, and speed add-ons, so I'm just going to grab a stack and a half of each of them and wait for the autocraft to finish, and then I'm going to take a trip to the nether. I'll see you on the other side. I just made a meat feeder to talk about how I could use a modular router and put it here to right-click the drawer, get the liquid meat, and then use a player module to transmit it back to my person. One of these guys. There's a player module. These guys. So this module lets you take items from your player's inventory and put them in the router, and then hopefully left-click this guy, put it back in the router, and put it back in the player inventory was my plan. Except it seems that the meat feeder just works. I am currently full with 256 buckets of liquid meat, which was what is in this tank. And if I just take a whole bunch of damage and just run around, you can see that my saturation never really dips down low. Just sort of stays there. All while... oh, that's the quest menu. All while the meat feeder is still full. So I'm rather unsure if that's a bug or not, but I'll take it. Whoa, that's a problem. I didn't expect factory blocks to be broken, but they are. If you can't tell, I already updated versions back to 1.17a for the mod pack, because 1.17 had a bunch of bugs with the recipes not showing up right. I think that was visible when I was trying to set up recipes for that stuff there, maybe. I'm not sure if that was recorded or not, but I did upgrade because, well, 1.17 also had issues with shaders, and, well, let's just say this place doesn't look as nice with no shaders on. And I would rather play with shaders. So I swapped versions again, and it seems like my factory blocks are gone. Yeah, I'm rather unhappy about that, actually. Anyways, with this entire side complete, I have just remembered that there's a little hole in the wall right here. And if I have a dimensional chest that pipes into a smelting factory, and then 3 drawers for Vibranium, AlltheModium, and Unobtainium, and then perhaps another drawer for Netherite, I can then hook all of those drawers up to that controller right there and sort of fill out this space just a tiny bit. And of course, if I see a better suggestion for the use of this place, I'll probably move it somewhere else. But in the event that I don't see any, I think just having in fact, I have a netherite in a drawer over there too, so I can just perfectly fill out a single slice and then have one horizontal cable going across that can mirror what this looks like. Yeah, I think that'll be neat. Oh, and now that I'm in the nether, I'm reminded why I dislike the unbound shaders. I don't like the fog it creates. Hold on, let me see if I can, that's a setting I can change before I continue. And of course it is, I have just turned off water fog, K-fog, and atmospheric fog, and this is much more like it. I prefer this much more because I sort of dislike the haze it creates. It feels like there's schmoo smeared on my glasses. And as a person who wears glasses, I feel like the other people who wear glasses will 100% corroborate this. Anyways, this chunk right here happens to be the exact chunk that my waystone is in, and it's also one I've claimed, so I may as well just go here and shift click this to force load this chunk, and then place my setup down here. After I get rid of these guys. Alright, I'm not the biggest fan of having my piece disturbed down there with all the hoglins and the piglins and everything else. Those ghasts. Also, I just noticed that you can see my nether portal from here. But I've just dug myself a little hidey hole up top here, and I'm hoping I can set up over here in peace. So, just as before. Ooh, there's nothing down here. And actually, that's okay, because that means I can just fly down. Do one of these. And that will now power everything. Perfect. And so, just as before, I'm going to put all of these down in this pattern. In this 3x3. And then put down all of the add-ons. And you can shift click the add-ons in, which is a godsend, because I couldn't imagine having to manually click through each and every single one of these. And unfortunately, they only stack to 16, which I despise, but that's okay, I guess. And you know, I've just remembered the fact that because of my restocking, I'm gonna turn the gas down even further, actually. I've just remembered that because of my restocking, I don't actually have to hold on to every single one of these add-ons, because I can just shift-click these in directly from here. And I have a lot of shift-right-clicking ahead of me, I feel like. I'll just straight up cut to when this entire behemoth is built. And now you can hopefully see that already this is doing its job rather well. Now, I have no way of stopping this at the moment, so I'm just gonna mine it up and trash all these ores because I am missing the brown laser lens, and this guy is made with a few glass panes, some brown dye, and latex. Fortunately, with the power of wireless pattern terminals, I can't just make that. So once again, if I just put this down and quickly put down the brown laser lens and set the depth to 1, I should now get ancient debris, amongst other things. But I will filter everything but the ancient debris out because, well, I don't actually care for anything else. And something to note here is the fact that if you put in more laser lenses of a particular variety, what they're biased towards has a higher probability of coming into the system. So, I think I'm just gonna set this up here and then put my dimensional chest on top, or maybe use a filter system to put a bunch of items in a trash can.
Narrator narrates all.
I hit Control B instead of Control E. That's rather annoying. That honestly gave me a jump scare. I just wanted to go to my backpack. Yeah, just do one of these. Use a filter system to put stuff in here, and then send the other stuff into the dimensional chest. And there has been some change of plans. I have had to change up how I'm powering all of these because these kept running out of juice with just a single one, so I've put 2 down here, and there is still one in the bottom underneath this guy, but I couldn't be bothered to rip it out. But now all of these seem happy. This has a full row of upgrades. These have their upgrades in here as well, and this thing's just running, but it's fill up. Now if I put a dimensional chest on top and I have configured this to push, this thing doesn't push fast enough for it to be any form of meaningful, because it's always mining faster than it's pushing. So to set up a system that automatically filters stuff out, of course I'm going to use AE2. And it's gonna look a little something like this. You put down one of the acceptors, and then you're gonna need some sort of power to power this network. It's a network without a controller, and even the guide tells you this, but an ad hoc network, like a network that is just in place, can only have up to 8 channels. Now this import bus will import into the network, and I would like to shift click all of the acceleration cards into this, which is 4 of them. And yes, I am using the extended import bus because I would like to make no sacrifices for speed at all. And I was going to use an inverter card, but I'm just realizing there's an easier way around this. If I search for ancient debris and set this up as a higher priority, this will filter ancient debris at higher priority. And then I can put down a second storage bus that just stores into a trash can. I cannot put down the trash can next to the storage bus. That is rather strange. Oh, it's because of this thing right here. Okay, that's no problem at all. I can just pop that off and replace it over there. Put the trash can back down and put the storage bus back down. Now, since this is at a lower priority and the higher priority is only filtered to netherite, if I put down the dimensional chest and pull out everything else, hopefully everything from that thing is being filtered out into my trash, and all of my ancient debris is ending up in here, which seems like it is the case. Perfect system right here. Back on the overworld side, I think the way I want to set this up is have the dimensional chest in the bottom, and this is filling up rather nicely with ancient debris. Put down the enriching factory. Oh, sorry, the other way around. The crushing factory and then the enriching factory, right? Because you crush it into the scrap, and then the scrap gets energized to triple your output. So that, and then put in the drawer. Now, given the fact that this is 4 tall in a 5 tall environment, I'm tempted to put this on the other side, so I'll change that. And if I just grab this P2P, which is going to go into that far corner and hopefully power all of the automation that goes in these walls right here, I can boot this. This functional storage controller should now be online. And as this is producing so much, I should now be able to set up a tiny little subnet that essentially just pulls out of this and pushes into that, because then I can have this pull in from the top and push it out to the bottom and set that up as an output, turn on auto eject, and then turn on auto eject here too, like so. And since these drawers is already linked to this controller, it should just work. I might change this to Kiwi. I was trying something with black anti-block and I don't quite like it. This is what the entire system looks like. It's missing a few finishing details, like putting up the Kiwi facades in the back of these cables, but this entire subnet is simply powered off with this resonance generator. It's a storage bus that is dedicated to ancient debris, which in hindsight I do not need, and an exporter that is pushing ancient debris into here. Now, all of these have stopped because, well, this has stopped and I've already made 2,000 netherite scrap, and I think I'm just going to repeat the same process for each one of these and set up separate frequencies for the netherite, the AlltheModium, the Vibranium, and the unobtainium. You know, before I move on with the next step with these, I'm going to, for the sake of safekeeping, put one of each of these smithing templates down in my ender chest, just so I have backups, because I am totally the type of guy who forgets to, and, well, I would not want to have to go out on an adventure to find one of these again or one of those again. And I'm bringing that up because to make AlltheModium ore through an ore laser base, you need an AlltheModium pickaxe. And I want to make a fresh netherite pick because mine has some enchants on it. Now I will get into a apotheosis enchanting setup at some point. That point just happens to be not right now. So I know about those. I also know about the extractors and the mob farms, so all of that will be set up in due time. Just right now, I want to automate more things. So the next stop in our automation journey has brought me to the same ancient city that I have always visited. It's directly underneath my base, which is rather convenient. and in the deep dark, an AlltheModium pickaxe in a laser drill between a Y height of 220 gives you AlltheModium. So I'm just going to set up the exact same machine just in one of these places here, and I'll be back in base. Ooh, and I'm just trying to set this up, and this is giving me echo shards, which I'm excited about. I should probably find a setting that gives me both echo shards and the AlltheModium. And I'm fairly certain I've just seen some more AlltheModium come out of here. Yeah, and the echo shards also seem to be going up, right? Am I tripping? No, I'm not. This just went from 12 to 13, so this setup makes both echo shards and raw AlltheModium. Perfect. Now that we're back home and this thing has been producing rather swimmingly, I'm gonna make a system that specifically pulls out the echo shards. And I don't think I need an extended bus for this, but hey, never hurt. Grab one of these and just toss it in here. And this should automatically start pulling all the echo shards out. And then probably just put a furnace down for the AlltheModium, and then put another drawer down. So the AlltheModium drawer would go somewhere here, and then I think a ultimate smelting factory would do just fine. Now that that's all set up, I can just pull that out, push that in, send it over here, set this to auto sort, give it some speed and energy upgrades, and you know, I could do the multiplication, but then it won't fit in these nice tall towers, and this choice is an aesthetic one, so it is what it is. I'm going to turn auto eject on and tell it to output in the bottom, and this should all just go. And now with the boatload of AlltheModium processing up, I think it's time to move on to the next step, which would be Vibranium. And so this journey brings me back into the Crimson Forest where I'm at, and my next task would just be to mine around and run around and look at the walls here until I spot some Vibranium. Once I have you in a little bit, I can... That Vibranium right there. No, that's Dark Zirconium. No, that is Vibranium. Wow. Right here. Now, I do need an AlltheModium pickaxe to mine Vibranium, and that's how the progression goes here. So, yeah, I'll just grab the one out of the mining apparatus that I have set up, and just go from there. And you know, now that I've pulled this pickaxe out, I am still getting AlltheModium as well as echo shards. So, part of me thinks that I don't really need to leave this in here, because you just saw that pop up, right? Yeah. Interesting. Anyways, I'll go back and upgrade these. And there we are. This is taking forever thanks to the fact that I'm hovering with my jetpack. And just having this stuff is not enough. I would also apparently need to have myself a Vibranium pick, and to get one of these, I need a Vibranium smithing template. Now, as the tooltip suggests, I now need to go explore some bastions and find some suspicious old sand. So, I think I'm just gonna cut to when I find it, and hopefully that doesn't take too long. And we are back in the same bastion where I recorded an intro where I found the netherite templates, right at the bottom there. And right up top here is suspicious old sand. This took me quite a while to find actually, but finally. And of course the first thing I want to do is double up my Vibranium so that I can... Oh, I need AlltheModium, even better. And I need ancient stone. How do I get... What? And the answer to my ancient stone problem is much easier than you would expect. To get ancient stone, you had to visit a dimension called the Other. So just as if you put a teleport pad down in the overworld, you end up in the mining dimension. If you put a teleport pad down in the Nether, if and when it eventually loads, let's just put it down here, because why not? If I shift right click, or simply right click, it just took a second, you end up in the Other. Now this is a really dark place, and also rather hostile, so grabbing a light is somewhat a requirement. You spawn basically at the bottom of the world, but what I really need is just a little bit of this stone, so I'm just gonna do that. Crawl out of the space. And put on a few lights. And come back here later. If I just then right click again, or shift right click. It was lagging the first time. I could just go back home. And now I think I should have everything. Well, according to this guy, I don't have all the Modium. Oh, of course, because that drawer isn't linked up. That's a little bit silly of me. And now, finally, I should be able to replicate this. And the first thing I'm going to do is leave one behind in my ender chest. Because I would not want to lose that. And I've essentially replicated that same setup over here, except this time I'm actually enriching my Vibranium, so it's a 3 to 4. 3 raw Vibranium gives me 4 Vibranium dust, which I will then smelt up. They're already set up with their inputs and outputs configured. And hopefully auto eject is on, which it wasn't. Cool, and then it should just end up here. Now I just need to build the big quarry machine in the nether, in the appropriate biome. As I was mentioning, this came together much faster because I knew what I was doing. Just use the copy paste gadget, put down a layer, walk across it, hold down shift and right click, put in all the upgrades, put down another layer, and yeah, they stay full with power, and it's all good. Now I can go back home, just like so. And yeah, it seems these machines are already going. Awesome. But folks, with all of that said and done, I think I have fully run out of time to get this episode out to you guys. I set up the Latex farm, the mob farm, and 3 whole machines. So in the next episode, you're gonna see me go into the end, get me some unobtainium, upgrade my armor to Eclipse Alloy, and potentially even get stuck into some Ars Noel. This has been Ksaw and AlltheMods10. I'll see you next time.